was a student and I was selected as part of a U.S. government program to go to the Soviet Union. And I was a young conservative who thought that the Soviet Union was the evil empire. But I also knew that it was collapsing, and I had to see for myself what was the Soviet Union before it was gone. And um, it changed my life way. Um, the generosity and love from people who were suffering was it just gripped my soul to this day. The flag was sent to me by my friend in Moscow last year. I was in Russia last August 2023, and I have many friends there. I do work with Scott Ritter. I think you've met him. And helping, I produce his podcasts and I work with him. And I do study Russian because I believe that U.S. Russian relations are at the lowest. But now with the election, and with the Donald Trump victory, we have the potential to rebuild them. And maybe we can even complete the thinking of John F. Kennedy, which was when he and Khrushchev discussed in their letters that we could have a joint U.S. Russian moon landing for peace. This is would be my dream. Um, to complete that mission, even maybe not literally, but in spirit. So that is my connection to Russia. And I very much hope that Donald Trump Jr. and Bobby Kennedy, who I know have listened to Scott Ritter, I hope that from election night and my discussions and others that Scott Ritter advises a Trump presidency to make this a reality. I think he could. He could make this a reality. So I want to share just one picture if I can figure out how to do it. Ah, here we go.
There's a share button.
Can you
Oh
see
yeah,
that? Can you
yeah, I
see?
can see. Yeah,
So let me just say on election night, is that very visible to you?
it is. But I can see both of your screen. Do you have two screens?
Oh, I do.
Yeah,
Let's
maybe
let me see
if
here.
you can
How do I
manage to just share one
how
screen.
do I do that? Uh-oh. Let me see now. Where did you go? Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Here we go. Hold on. Let's see here. Let me stop sharing. How do I stop sharing here? Hold on a second. Stop sharing. How do I
Uh,
share just the one picture?
um,
Let me see. This only is what I want to share.
yeah.
So let's see here. Not a, I see. Nope. Hmm. Video file. All I see that I can do is share the ones. I don't know how to do
It,
it.
it's okay. You can like we can still see that picture.
You could, can you, let's see here. How do I, so if I do this, what do you see?
Oh, yeah, this is perfect.
Yeah.
I just see
Okay.
that one picture. Yeah.
Okay, good. So,
Mm-hmm.
so let me preface this by telling you that this is at the Trump event. My wife, who is, so you see, I'm kneeling in the blue jacket, and then one up, and then one to the right. She's kind of got her glasses on
Mm-hmm.
over my shoulder. She works for Bobby Kennedy, and she is a major campaign fundraiser for Kennedy, and she has raised huge amounts of money for his campaign and his efforts, but all in small donations. So very wide range of people. Um, so she is a big shot. And we were invited to the private Kennedy event. And then, because of the Kennedy relationship to the Trump campaign, we were given our election night special pass to go to the Trump event. And we were right there in the front of the event. And it was a memorable evening for sure. It was incredible because more than just the excitement of this, the thing is that we are in a turning point where where we could save the anti-imperial American constitutional tradition. Actually, so I don't have it, but since you're both Chinese, this is very useful. In 1876 in Philadelphia was the Philadelphia 1876, 100 years after the creation of the American Republic, after the revolution against the British, was the centennial celebration in Philadelphia to put on display for the world the industries and developments of the new American country, which had not been recognized by any of the European powers. At that celebration was a very low level um, um, official by the name of Li Gui. And I know I don't speak Chinese, so I have his name probably wrong, but he wrote a book about his journey to the East. And he was a Chinese official at the American Centennial celebration in 1876 in Philadelphia as a diplomatic representative of China. And what he said is that in 100 years, the common man of the United States had things that none of the kings and queens of Europe had: indoor plumbing, electricity, a high standard of living, education. And I just found that book to be a very beautiful book of his travels around the world because, of course, also Russia played a significant role in our early history. So, to me, we have an opportunity to reestablish these good relations both within America and outside to the rest of the world.
Mm.
Uh, that's the way I think about things.
Yeah. Actually, we went to Russia in 1992, right? When he was
Yes,
17 years old, and he has been there for over 30 years. Yeah.
yes. In Russian, in have the name people, name group people is people 19 years, people 19 years, because
Mhm.
19 years in Russian is a specific time, very special time. The time, you can go to understand, touch the Russian soul because this is the time is great change time. So I'm very glad Ryan and me in 19 years Russian people.
Yes, yes. Absolutely. Um,
So maybe
so
you guys both in Russia at the same time.
well, he was 92. I was there in 1991.
1991. Oh,
So just I left. When did you arrive in Russia?
Right?
What
你怎么走到
month in 19 you said 1992 you
Yes.
first. What month?
哪个
Month
月
October.
October. Oh.
Okay. So I left in August of 1991.
Mm.
Wow. This is the time is very big great time. So much changed.
Yes.
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 Mm.
Now Russia is a jewel It is so beautiful. Um, and my friends there. So, well, let me tell you. I will get to some things because I think you'll appreciate my view. Um, so Donald Trump, let me see. I think I can share one more thing. I think the change is possible. This election is a mandate for a complete overhaul of the United States policy. And let's see here. So can you see
Yeah.
this here?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very important thing for me that the new chief of staff, Susan Wiles, uh, for Donald Trump, um, she used to work for the former governor of Utah, Huntsman, who was a very positive ambassador from the United States to Russia at one time. This is good.
Mm-hmm.
So she is there's an interesting dynamic. Also yesterday, maybe you saw this, Donald Trump has said that Nikki Haley and Mike Pompeo will not be in the administration. Now this is very good. Aside from being warmongers, both of them, Pompeo, of course, is part of the lies of the Russia Gate scandal from years ago. He tried to kill Julian Assange. Um, he suppressed the release of the documents about the assassination of John F. Kennedy. So for Donald Trump to eject them, to disinvite them, this is a very good sign to those of us who voted. Americans, they absolutely want to see the end of the censorship. You know, every country is different, but in the United States, we say that free speech is vital. And so that hasn't been the case. Again, I don't want to compare myself to another country because it is different and difference is good. But in this country, we say free speech is number one. So if we say that and then we don't allow it, we are breaking our own rules. So Donald Trump, Robert Kennedy, they have made this, Elon Musk, they've made this the centerpiece, really. Also, getting out of these wars. We have essentially not hurt Russia in the Ukraine war. We've hurt ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's because we have so it's interesting. Russia took the direction after the fall of the Soviet Union of internal economic development, physical economy. After the shock therapy of selling Russian assets, the oligarchs stealing everything from Russia. Well, what we've done in the same amount of time is we've allowed the oligarchs to destroy the American economy. Now we're still strong, we still have power, but the average working person in America is very upset about this direction. So Trump, with whether you fully like him or not, he did address the needs of the working people. He did. And small business owners. And I think this is also interesting. I'll share one more thing for you. Because, and I hope this is visible. Let's see here. So even this guy, Bernie Sanders, who was originally running for president against Hillary Clinton in 2015, 2016, caved into the Democratic Party harassment. Even he says that the reason the Democrats lost is because the Democratic Party has abandoned regular people. They've abandoned the Democratic Party used to be the party. Now, I'll tell you, my view, the Democratic Party only represented working people two times, John F. Kennedy and Franklin Delano Roosevelt. But really, from Woodrow Wilson, 1900, 1901, to the present day, except for those two, the Democratic Party was the party of slavery. They were not good ever. But those two were good. Let me see. Can I? So Bernie Sanders is saying essentially what I just said, that the Democrats were defeated. Now, I have many family who are Democrats who are absolutely infuriated by this. There's a lot of brainwashing that they have undergone. But as Glenn Greenwald, I'm sure you both know Glenn Greenwald, or at least maybe you do. He's a journalist from the United States. He worked with, what's his name? I forget off the top of my head. But anyway, Glenn Greenwald is a journalist. And what he has said is that this is the time for the Democratic Party, which is self-destructed, to look inward and rethink what they're doing. So you see, I think this is the best thing. Sometimes some kinds of destruction is good.
Yes.
Because you can look in and reevaluate yourself. Anyone who does not, well, let me say, from Socrates, right? He said, the unexamined life is not worth living. We have to look at ourselves. So that is now this is now the time for that. And these are the discussions that Bobby Kennedy brought into Donald Trump's campaign. This is when Scott Ritter, when he's really tough on Donald Trump, and sometimes, he beats up on Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But actually, he doesn't do it because and again, I'm going to speak for him a little bit, but I trust he'll forgive me if I am not quite exact, because he loves America. He wants these leaders who take up the mantle of leading to be the best that they should be, not in the world, but the best for America. And it turns out if America is the best for America, guess what? We'll be good neighbors to the rest of the world. We'll be good friends. Then we won't see Russia as the enemy. We won't see China, Iran, Venezuela as the enemy, but rather as maybe competitors in a positive sense, and partners also. Let me say to you a little bit, over the last so after the fall of the Soviet Union, in 1996, my mother we were Republicans. My mother ran for Congress as a Democrat in the United States. She won the Democratic primary. I was her campaign worker. I was 19, and I was a young guy. The Democratic Party sabotaged her campaign back then in 1996. But then I got involved in politics, and I worked for the Executive Intelligence Review. I don't know if you're familiar with this, from the Schiller Institute. It was an American intelligence journal for U.S. government officials and business and diplomats. In any case, before there was the Belt and Road Initiative from China, we were discussing in Congress that the U.S., Russia, China, India should cooperate around big economic projects as the road to peace. And that was rejected by the United States. China has done it. Russia is participating, and more countries are participating. So now you have Donald Trump, who has taken over the Republican Party. So Dick Cheney and all those guys are just as discredited as Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. So now we might actually begin this process of cooperation. What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, I think like yesterday I saw Putin just after Trump was elected, and he said Russia is not doing anything like to de-dollarization. Russia was kicked out of SWIFT. And now, the BRICS meeting summit is just, I think it just held in St. Petersburg, right? And then,
Kazan?
Kazan,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
There's
yes.
another meeting at St. Petersburg.
I know.
Yeah. So I think last time we were we were talking in Telegram, and we were talking about how to, like, if Trump can bring the United States to, to BRICS.
So, so one of my what I would consider my long distance collaborators is Dr. Sergei Glasiev. He was an advisor to President Putin in years past. He was an advisor to the Duma. He is now the head of the Eurasian Economic Commission's Integration and Macroeconomics Department. And what he has said is that the election of Donald Trump has shocked the Anglo-American, we'll say, Atlanticist gang, the those who would try to create a Pax Americana, or the neoconservatives, the followers of a totalitarian kind of unipolar world. He said this has shocked them, that the deep state in the United States is really taken, they have lost, and that the United States can now integrate into this new dialogue, like you say, of BRICS with other nations by abandoning imperialism and the global hybrid war, and that Trump, it's in the national interest of the United States that Trump can liberate the United States from this. And I think that Americans are ready now for this, that the work that Scott Ritter has done with Operation Dawn, the work that Bobby Kennedy has done to campaign against war. Now Trump is talking about stopping the danger of World War III.
Yes.
So this is a gateway only. We have not crossed the finish line. We're only at the start line.
Yeah. Isn't that the first step? Like, if you want to work with Russia, China, Iran, you have to stop the war first, right? I think that's the question Wei has. I mean, how can Trump stop not even talking about Middle East, just talking about Ukraine and Russia, how to stop that war?
I think it's very simple. Trump is not going to need to call President Putin. He's going to call Zelensky, and he's going to say, it's over. No more money for you. Donald Trump over the last 2 days has said the money that we are spending on Ukraine can be used to help American homeless people, homeless veterans. We can start to begin to build initially temporary housing for those veterans. Nobody's talked about homeless or the veterans. Now Donald Trump is. Well, he's right. The money that we've been giving to Ukraine can now go to help these Americans. And I think beyond that, he should simply be open to what Putin says and it's not our neighborhood. It really isn't our decision. Our decision is to stop participating. But it's not our decision on how the peace will be. It's like Russia. If there was a conflict between the United States and Mexico, Russia has nothing to do with Mexico. Why would Russia get involved in that? It's not Russia's business, just like it's not America's business to get involved between. We made the mistake in getting involved in that. So I think that's what Trump can do. He can say no more money for Ukraine. Simple.
Yeah. Yeah, that is simple, but what will happen to Ukraine? I mean, that country. What will Russia do?
I think Russia doesn't want to control all of Ukraine because there are a lot of Nazis in the west of Ukraine. I mean, really, if you study World War II, there's no difference. Nazis. So I think it will be something like a buffer zone, but it's not going to be European troops. It's going to be Russian troops. It may extend to Odessa. I leave it to the experts. My personal view is I do think that it's acceptable that Russia does eventually take Odessa because but also look, President Putin is not vindictive. He doesn't want to punish the Ukrainian people, and maybe taking, making Ukraine landlocked would be, in his view, a punishment for Ukraine that would cause problems later for Russia. I could see him also making that decision. But I do think it does mean that those territories that are held by Russia, that voted to join Russia, will be Russia, at least. And we just will have to accept it. That's just the way it is. Crimea is Russia. I mean, technically, Odessa is Russian. I have friends from Dnipropetrovsk who have fled there, but that's a Russian city. These are Russian cities.
Yeah. So whatever Putin wants.
Yeah. And again, he doesn't want Lviv. He doesn't want to control territory where people who hate Russia will then be causing problems. We've seen this because if he really wanted to, he would have taken that territory. I don't see that he's going to do that. And Ukraine should never join NATO. Never. In fact, I would like Donald Trump to leave NATO. Yeah. We don't need to be in NATO.
There's no NATO. I mean, there's only United States.
Yeah,
NATO without United States, what is that? They don't have like anything.
Nothing.
Right? It's just United States in NATO's name and doing, these wars. Everybody knows it's United States.
But it's, they used to say British brains, American brawn. So the British Empire really is the example of what was wrong. And the problem is that when Kennedy was killed, but really even earlier than that, there were these pro-British bankers in America who we've never fully eradicated that wanted us to be part of a British Empire. So it's important for Americans to learn their history. We're not part of the British Empire. We're not an American empire. We're a republic. It's different. We don't do empire. So Sergei Glaziev said this. And then what you said about Putin at the Valdai conference, I've been reading his words. And it's very interesting. As you said, he said, Russia didn't seek to abandon the dollar. I posted this on my X, so here I'll share it. That way you can. I've been posting some interesting things.
I saw it. I think it's very interesting that he said.
Let's see here. Yes, yeah. So he says he says we did not abandon. We didn't seek to abandon the dollar. We're not giving up on the dollar. The dollar should not be touched. It was done by the West. He's right. It's sad. It's true, but he's not out to destroy the dollar. But what I think is very beautiful, and I love this little picture, by the way. It's a fun little picture. What I really liked that President Putin said in his opening statements in Valdai, and I hope that Donald Trump would hear this message. He says that only a new international system possible is one that embraces musical polyphony, where many tones, many musical themes are sounded together to form harmony. And we are moving towards a world system which has to be polyphonic, one which all voices are heard, and most importantly, must be heard, but it's harmony, not cacophony, but harmony. And as opposed to those who want to always have a solo and always sing alone. Um, and I think that, first of all, Putin to say that in that way. So I played the violin for almost 30 years, classical violinist. I think that for him to say that is beautiful. It's a genius statement. It does display a loving kindness for all of the instruments out there. And if you go back again to the 1876 centennial of America, that is how we thought. Even with McKinley, before he was assassinated in 1901, President McKinley, President Ulysses S. Grant. You know, back on my bookshelf, I have two very big books about Ulysses S. Grant travel around the world. When he went to Hong Kong after he was president in I think it was in the 1880s, 300,000 Chinese were there to visit him and welcome him on the at the docks. So he was the most welcome, most popular foreigner in China. Americans don't know this, and this is to what Putin is saying. And I do think Trump, Trump is not, and he's not a deep intellect like Bobby Kennedy, but he does know how to make a deal. I think he wants a good legacy. And so he might not think about it in such beautiful terms, but I think, to hear him speak at some of these events, it's clear he's been moved. Also, they did try to kill him. There were assassination attempts. He's gone through some soul searching of his own. He's had to rediscover things himself. So I think that the opportunity is there, and it is vital that Americans quickly and rapidly embrace the change. One of Benjamin Franklin's mentors, okay, so more American history, John Winthrop. John Winthrop was an early American mentor to Benjamin Franklin when he was a young man. And he referenced a book by Cotton Mather. The book was called Essays to Do Good. And he looked at difficult times as opportunities. And he said, when you have an opportunity to do a great good, then you must embrace it and not run away from it. So we may have difficult times in front of us. Certainly the fight to rebuild the United States is not going to be done in 4 years under Donald Trump. J.D. Vance is going to have to continue that. Tulsi Gabbard, maybe. This is an interesting thought.
Yeah, maybe, next 2028, right? Yeah.
I have a question. I think one moment in Ukraine have group soldier and political. Group soldier, political, and Zelensky is Nazism. Nazism, so Nazist people.
Yes.
And if they cannot stop the war, they know if stopped, war in Ukraine, Russian will take them to the charge and everything the group Nazism people did and go to the charge. They know they can the Nazism soldier political cannot live in the peace, cannot live. If they don't will have money from America, they cannot see where they will live. No Ukraine, no Russia, no Europe, because I think one very important problem that is what we'll do with these group people. In the last time, we see the Nazism soldier have the dirty atom bomb. They wanted damage atom station in Russian. They cannot do it. But right now in Ukraine have three or two atom station, electric station. They can damage the station, and half if Europa will go to the very very bad situation. If America will not give the money to Ukraine, what will do the group people?
Let me see if I can say this in Russian first to practice. Украинскому народу придется иметь дело с украинскими нациями. So the Ukrainian people, I think, are going to have to deal with the Ukrainian Nazis. Maybe it will have to the United States used to admit that there were Ukrainian Nazis. Certainly, some of these may have to go on a war tribunal. These are war crimes they've committed, genocide, war crimes. So that may happen. I think that. So let's see. Scott Ritter was talking about the dirty bomb. It's messy, but it's really ineffective. So I think that there will be a presence there for probably maybe 2 generations of Russian soldiers along the border with whatever is left of Ukraine. I don't see any other way around it. But if the United States changes and we recognize that we don't finance Nazis again, then the Nazis will go away over time, I think. It's the children have been brainwashed.
If they don't, I mean, if Ukraine and the Zelensky regime, if they don't have the money, I don't think they have the motive to do the dirty bomb, right? I mean, why? Like you add another crime in your already long list. I mean, if they cannot see, if they can see they cannot win the war without support from the United States, I don't
It's
think they
over.
will do. Yeah.
I agree with you. I think it's over.
Mhm.
If Donald Trump, he and also this goes for the Middle East because the relationship between the Israelis and the Ukrainians is very close. Actually, they're very similar. So, with a change in this situation, look. Also, let me mention Robert Kennedy in an interview with Tucker Carlson had said that Donald Trump in 2018 already had wanted to get all of the American troops out of Syria. There's still some troops there, and he wants to get them out. So, again, I think that as we roll back the neoconservative policies in America, the Nazis in Ukraine will lose power. And the Ukrainian people, there are good Ukrainian people. There were some that I used to work with that were in the government. Of course, all of the opposition parties have been banned in Ukraine, but if you see them come back, there will be the opportunity to restore whatever is left of Ukraine, and the Nazis will lose all power. I think it's possible. It's going to take time.
Yeah, the other day on Twitter I saw an interview. It's the Pepe Escobar debating with Alexander Dugin. Did you say his name?
What?
You're talking about if Trump can stop World War III. You're talking about that. And Dugin, he said Trump is the only Western leaders that Russia still respect and willing to talk to. I think that's very important because, like if Biden or Kamala, they don't even want to talk to you. Like, how can we negotiate if I cannot trust you? But now Trump is elected. I think that situation will change.
Yes. I think that again, Trump is a negotiator. He's a businessman. Tucker Carlson went to Russia. He learned a very small amount about Russia, and I think that if given the opportunity for Trump, look, what Trump did with North Korea was brilliant. From an American standpoint, it was sabotaged, but Trump being willing to, in the way that Trump does it, to be diplomatic. Just let me talk to you. Just let us talk. I think that a lot can be fixed, at least on one level. We have to get rid of this deep state, CIA, FBI, social media, mainstream media control over the way people think. I don't care if people don't like Donald Trump. What I want is that people have a way to think about what's true and make up their own mind, have the ability to hear all sides. This is why I read President Putin, Sergei Lavrov, Sergei Glasiev, because if I don't talk to Americans about them, they won't hear about it. This is, I regularly tell Americans about the high-speed trains in China. We have spent billions of dollars in the United States, and we don't have one high-speed train.
Yeah. I used to like that. Yeah. China.
The maglev, for example, the magnetic levitation. And so we have to kind of, I think as Americans change their thinking, it will change Ukraine. Ukraine can't get away with. Look at the example of Chechnya. Chechnya ran wars, right? Terrorism. They had to be subdued militarily. Look at the Chechens. They are Russian patriots today.
Yes.
And I wouldn't want to fight them, but I have tremendous respect for the decisions they made. I think it can be like this.
I hope, I hope so.
Yes, I hope so too. I would love to help to make that happen. I think Trump is open to this. So that's my thinking.
Yeah, but every time
Thank
when
you.
Trump, when he wants to work with those countries, China, Russia, and the Democratic Party always say, "Oh, Russian Gate," try to kind of
Who
like.
who listens to the Democrats now? Uh, who listens to the Democrats now? They have been thoroughly discredited.
Mhm.
I think the House might go for Trump. The Senate is for Trump. The
Mhm.
Supreme Court's for is pro-Trump,
Mhm.
and the Electoral College and the popular vote. It's all for Trump.
Yeah,
So
I think they're still trying to steal the House, the Democratic Party. They're still counting the votes.
I know
Yeah.
California, Arizona, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's okay. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter. Any dirty tricks that they had done to steal the election was defeated. Democracy finally worked in the United States.
Yes, the other day, I was arguing with Wei. I always say United States is the greatest country in the world, and he was like arguing with me. He said, to be a greatest country in the world, you have to do the contribution, not destruction to the world. So I was thinking about that. Yeah, maybe it's time for the United States to do less destruction, less wars, but work with other countries.
And that is what the rest of the world was always hoping for. What was good about the United States is we fought the British Empire. That was good. We had
Hmm.
a successful revolution against empire. Um, but the idea was to form a more perfect union, not a perfect, but more perfect. So we have to unfold a more perfect union. We can, I mean, look, I understand those who say my country is the best country in the world. I mean, I think that so let me defend you a little bit against Wei on this one point.
Yeah. Yes.
What is the best about America is what used to be called the American system of economics from Alexander Hamilton,
Mhm.
Lincoln, Henry Carey. Uh, there was an economic idea that the nation would use dirigism. So, this idea of directing the economy for the good of the citizens. Well, guess what? That worked. It made us a great nation. Do you know who does that today? China,
I was
Russia.
going to say
They
that.
are, in fact, China and Russia, in some respect, are acting more American than America has been up till now. So now, if you have America acting American with the original anti British imperial American system, then it doesn't matter anymore because the system is a just system. It worked at one time. And I think with BRICS, this is like the non aligned movement, but more substantial. I think um, I think about when Franklin Roosevelt was traveling, and I think I want to say Saudi Arabia. The king of Saudi Arabia wanted his wheelchair because it was a marvelous technological device that they didn't have. That's what the world wants from it. They want us to be a nuclear power for electricity, not weapons. And they want those things. African countries want that. Guess what? China's been building power plants, railroads, things like that. All we need to do is join that again. And for Americans, we need to have Americans employed. And so it's possible, but the disease is this British imperial disease. I don't care if China wants to say if they're going to be a communist country and we're not a communist. These labels to me mean far less because it's not what you say, it's what you do. What China does is what America used to do. That's a fact. When America was not acting as an empire, we built things for other people and with other people and made life better. That's American. Not the wars. All those military bases should be closed that we have everywhere else. All those American soldiers, guess what? They could be retrained as part of an Army Corps of Engineers to rebuild our railroads, to rebuild our seaports, to rebuild our bridges, to rebuild our dams, to rebuild our power plants, farms, factories. It's the base. The Army, the military, is the basis for good, actually, in the United States. But we have to bring them back. Our military right now is a disaster. It's fallen apart. If we were attacked right now, it would be not good. But by bringing back a national mission, the most beautiful thing about what John F. Kennedy did in the space program was that it was a national mission to make young people scientists, engineers, astronauts. And it was everybody, black, white, Christian, Jew, Muslim, it didn't matter. And that's actually the America the rest of the world remembers historically that we have to remind ourselves of. And I do think that Trump represents that doorway for good.
Yeah.
That's what Bobby Kennedy said. He said for 20 years, he said for 19 years, I think, he said since 2005, he said, I prayed every day for 30 minutes that God would give me a way to cure childhood chronic disease, and God brought me Donald Trump. It's beautiful, don't you think, Wei?
Yeah. I mean, it must be very hard for him to realize that because he's a Democratic and Trump. I think Trump's personality probably isn't the one that RFK Jr. will really appreciate. Sometimes I think.
I think he understands it, and
Yeah,
Trump
but
has been really. I think their relationship is very good.
yeah, no, but I think RFK Jr. is a very proud person. Even after he realized he can work with Trump, he still at first, he still asked in the states that his name is still on the ballot. He asked the voters to vote for him. But then after a while, he asked everyone to vote for Trump. And there is a period of time for him to totally endorse Trump. I
Well,
think,
when he announced that he was going to back Donald Trump, he was in tears. He cried. The problem was that he fought so hard to get onto the ballot that he wanted people to vote for him initially in the states that were not battleground states.
Oh, okay.
Only. So the battleground states like Arizona, he said, if you're in a battleground state, don't vote for me. If you're in a regular state, go ahead and vote for me. But then the Democratic Party decided to change their tactic to sabotage.
Yeah.
And so when Kennedy tried to get himself taken off the ballot, the Democrats sued him to stay on the ballot.
Yeah.
To sabotage Donald Trump. But guess what? Kennedy just got more aggressive and he said, forget it. Vote for Trump. I'm with Trump. Vote for Trump. And Kennedy has said, he said, look, I trust Trump. So he's not going to lie. He's not lying to me. So you trust me and my trust for Trump. It's there's been nothing like this ever before in American history.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that's real unity, the patriots' unity, not between Democratic or Republican, but just
Exactly.
the patriots.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And that is the best thing, what you just said. It's not because the Republican Party, that was also corrupt.
Yes.
The
Mm-hmm.
Democratic Party, totally corrupt. So now are you a patriot or are you an oligarch?
Mm-hmm.
Trump seems to want to side with the working people, the regular people. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what I have to say for you. We have a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is not going to be an easy time. My wife has still got a lot of work to do with Kennedy, and she's not going to stop, I hope. Um, Trump's got a lot of work to do. I really hope that well, we have to see, but no matter what, my job is, as I see it, is to put pressure on Trump to continue to do what's right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think he wants to do what's right.
Mm-hmm.
I think he wants to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And hopefully in the winter, we can come to Moscow for New Year's. That's what I hope.
Oh, really? I want you to go.
Yeah, I hear New Year's is beautiful in Russia.
Maybe we can
Welcome
plan
every
that
weekend.
together.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I
Maybe
still
so.
have 3 weeks
Yes, yes.
vacation. I don't really put it into use yet. So,
We'll
how
talk.
long
We'll
are you
talk.
going to stay if you go to Russia?
Maybe only a week though,
Um,
because I don't have lots of vacation time either.
mhm.
But plus my Russian lessons, I have to keep working on my language skill because
Yeah,
I'm not very good at Russian. I can read, I can write. My speaking is a little bit difficult.
That's very good already. How long did you stay in Russia when you were exchange?
So when I was just there, it was 3 weeks, I think.
Oh, that's not long enough to learn
It's
the
such a
language.
big country. Well, Scott Ritter and I and others were going to go this summer
Mhm.
for 6 weeks,
Oh,
but the Biden State Department took his passport
oh yeah, I
while
remember that.
while he was getting on the plane.
Hmm.
So we'll see.
Hmm.
We have to see if we can change the situation so that we don't have sanctions. I can't bring my work computer to Russia and work from Russia because I work from home. So if I could work from Russia, that would be fun. Work and go there for a few months. Then my Russian would be perfect.
Oh, yeah.
yes, you can.
So we'll have to see. So anyway, it was very good speaking with the both of you.
Yeah, good speaking with
Thank
you,
you. Thank you.
Ryan. Thank you very much for coming to my channel.
You
Let's
too.
Thank
talk
you.
next time.
Yes, thank you.
До
Спасибо.
свидания.
До свидания. Пока-пока.
До
Пока-пока.
свидания.
Добрый вечер.
Спасибо. Спокойной ночи.
Спокойной ночи.